All right, legends, how's everybody doing? Let's analyze the situation here for the price of Bitcoin. What's going on, guys? It is dumping. We are holding. Are we going to get a massive bounce? We'll be analyzing here the situation all together. Make sure to absolutely destroy that like button, guys, on your way in. And we'll be analyzing the situation, okay? Let's smash up the like button all together, guys. If you will do so, make sure to destroy the like button. Just put in the background music. Let's analyze the situation because holy smokes, guys. It's real, right? Just a week ago, we had people very, very bullish. Muy bullish. Last week, guys. It was insane how bullish people were last week. And now people are in doubt, guys. Let me know in the comment section, okay? I'm actually going to do a poll. How are you feeling? Feeling for the next coming weeks? Are you feeling bullish? Or are you feeling bearish, guys? Let me know right away in the comment section, okay? Created that poll right away for the people here to let me know because we understand. Well, we did understand, okay, the most bearish case scenario here for the price of Bitcoin is actually coming all the way down below $107,000. Do you see this happening throughout the next coming weeks before entering into October? Because this is something that we were very much aware that it could happen, right, in the last 1 to 2 weeks, right? Even climbing up here, we were already aware of this potential, guys. And whoever's in short from higher, absolutely phenomenal, guys. I would eventually take some profits off the table if you're short from 117, 116, 115 maybe, right? Definitely take some off the table, but it's worth holding a swing short here without a doubt. It is worth holding some of that position. Because of this, I was actually getting a lot of people saying that, you know, this is unlikely to happen. I could go through the comment section. Some people were saying, you know, it's just not going to happen. We are not going to see it. Now, it doesn't look like we are too far away from, you know, hitting the lows at 107K. We're only $4,000 away from coming down to hit that 107K, which has the potential to actually break down a few $1,000s, guys, without a doubt. There is that possibility. The price is looking pretty impulsive, guys. I would expect a larger bounce. Okay, we're going to talk about the intraday setups. Okay, swing trading positions. There are no major swing trades here for me anyway to be taken. There's not a swing long position. There is not a swing short. You know, you should be short from higher. If you did consider the bearish case, topping out at the point of control, topping out at the golden pocket. I mean, how, you know, as it comes to swing trading, right? How easy is kind of this, right? Where you bounce at the point of control of the biggest range and you reject from the point of control of the previous range, right? Sometimes it looks too easy. Sometimes the easy does happen, guys. Sometimes the easy scenarios do happen. It is also the golden pocket from this pivot low to the pivot high that we got the bounce, okay, here at 107K zone. And also we rejected at the golden pocket from pivot high to the pivot low. You know, sometimes it is that simple. Bit of Fibonacci, a bit of point of controls, and that's about it. Right, so we'll be analyzing a little bit of the intraday scenarios, okay? I would expect a bounce, okay? We probably can hit 110K. This is an interesting scenario. I was actually pointing out this in the Legends Pro community, okay? the most important level that we do have as support. I need to confirm, guys, that you can hear me. Devil, my man, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining. Bullish, bearish. Oh, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think down here in the in the poll, okay? Because how are you feeling for the next coming weeks, guys? Bullish or bearish? Oh, it's a 50-50, guys. We've got over 100 votes right now. It is a bit of a 50-50. We're going to try and get a bit of day trading, scalping setups today, guys. We're going to talk about some intraday zones just to, try and get into a nice successful day trade, okay? I know I mainly talk about swing trade setups, mainly day trade to swing trade. But today we're going to try and focus a little bit on where there is an interesting zone. I'm not interested in shorting all the way down here, guys, even though it does look like we could go to slightly lower levels. It does look like that we are going to claim that low here of yesterday. But for me to have a successful breakdown from this point, I strongly believe that that is not going to happen, guys. However, we need to hold the most important levels of support. And the most important level of support here is a naked point of control that we do have at 110K zone, okay? When we do get the session volume profile, it is that area over here. As you can see, there's a point of control in this zone at 110K. There is also a daily level here in that zone. Got a fly here that's not letting me live. We also have a daily level, which is at 110.1, okay? That's the only long position that I would be interested in, okay? I'm just giving it that clear here on YouTube. I did manage to, squeeze a long position. Getting above the lower highs here was the take profit zone. And we actually got a reversal, pretty good reversal. Whoever shorted here, this area, we mentioned the possibility of that wave 4 still being in here, guys. Maybe this is a larger range. And the wave 4 is, a complex WXY. You got a flat in the middle, okay, and another flat here. There was a chance here for this to still be the 4th wave. And what is most important is that you cannot hit the golden pocket, right? 50% just hit, right? We are considering still all of this part of the correction. So you got a flat, movement down, 3-wave down, movement up as well. Golden pocket, which was sitting at 114.4K, cannot be hit if we are considering still that we are inside of the impulsive move down. Now, why does it make sense here to get some kind of a bounce, right? This is why I'm not interested in shorts all the way down here, guys. I think it's pretty clear that shorting down here is not the greatest option, even though you can actually drop down, $1,000 in the next coming minutes. It is very much a possibility. I would be more interested in trying to snipe here a long position at good support. And the best level that we do have close to us is 110.1. And I would believe that, we still could get that major bounce, okay? Larger bounce here in this zone. Why do I think that a larger bounce is, potentially likely here? The main reason is, if we do take a look at this, I would really not point out that this is your wave 2, right? If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and this is your bounce, it's extremely shallow in time. And when we do consider a multiple 1, 2, this 3rd wave is much longer than this wave right over here. So it has low probabilities, okay, for this then to break down in a 3rd wave. Of course, nothing is impossible. However, I do see this being low probability, okay? Low probability for this scenario, in my opinion. So what I'm pointing out here is that we could be very likely still inside of the 5th wave here. Still inside of the 5th wave, which it should kind of chop around here in this region. You might get one instant reaction, one double bottom, triple bottom, and then get the bounce later on throughout the week. It might consolidate as the weekend is very close as well. Well, maybe Friday could actually get the bounce, but this is the region where we should find some support. If we trade beneath the 110.1k, I would be very, very skeptical, in longing anywhere in this area. I need a recovery above that daily level, swing failure pattern of this low potentially, and that would give me the possibility of that bounce if I am speculating on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, of course, the fifth wave, it can be choppy. Okay, it can come down, bounce, another move down, right? It can kind of create this choppiness here at this zone. Can get a little bit bit choppy, but ultimately I would expect this zone to hold as support and have a fake breakdown. That's what I would expect here. Altcoins are getting absolutely obliterated, guys. We're having the Bitcoin dominance getting that bounce, which was very much expected. We talked about this just about a week ago or so, where this level was highly respected back in 2019 and 2020. So, for all of those people that are holding, those altcoins, on spot or looking to get into swing longs, it's lower leverage and lower capital here. For the moment, without a doubt, that bounce could take a few days and even actually a couple of weeks on the Bitcoin dominance, guys. It's not looking that great, okay? Not looking that great in the immediate short term, which actually sucks, right? For all of those people that have altcoins. It is, that part of the cycle where, we're getting that intense shakeout. And if the Bitcoin dominance bounces with Bitcoin going down, guys, yeah, it's an absolute bloodbath, right? Altcoins just continue to move to the downside. Ethereum finally getting below $4,000. And this is what I wanted to see for many weeks, guys. I still hold a small position of the short, nothing too major. I took most of the profits here, guys, on the short position from all-time high rejection. And I'm very interested in longs, guys. I have to say, I'm extremely interested in longs on Ethereum. I am just aware that Ethereum could actually go a little lower. We can do a little bit of Ethereum analysis, guys, but I think we can get ready for an epic swing long position on Ethereum. Which is coming down to this zone of interest that I've been waiting for a few weeks now. I must say about 2-3 weeks, that the level that I am interested to start thinking about a long position, we have just tapped the level today, which is the high of the box here, this order block, order block right over here on the higher time frame. And that had to do here with Elliott Wave theory, right? In a nutshell on Ethereum, I think Bitcoin's getting the drop right now. I'm going to set some alerts here. We're losing the low. An SFP here would be possible. I would prefer a little bit of a shake move down. Get a movement down of, $1,000. The biggest level here for the moment beneath us. If SFPs are SFPs. But the biggest level that we do have is the daily here with a naked point of control. You also got that higher low, which would be the most interesting level for me anyway to consider that long position. An SFP here could be a possibility. However, it could definitely SFP. I mean, it is a bit of a quick sniper trade, guys. With tight stop loss. It's already getting a little bounce. That would have been a quick sniper. We just tapped that low and it's already getting a reaction. Tap the low. This could definitely get the bounce here throughout the next coming hours. Preferably, for me, the best level. Eventually get a bit of a breakdown, get a bit of a shakeout here and get down to this level, which is the most important one. Daily level at 110.1. That would make more sense. Give that fifth wave a little bit of steam, right? Get a little bit of steam to the downside. And I'm ultimately looking for some kind of a bounce. A larger bounce here has higher probability. Regardless if you SFP from this low right now, or not, that there is a high chance that we do get some kind of a relief rally here, a larger relief rally, and it all has to do with the probabilities of this movement down, guys. I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to be a little bit patient here. I'm going to be a little bit patient because I do see this zone being hit. This is the next barrier. I'm not too interested in double bottoms and SFPs at this moment because I realize if this is a fifth wave, it should really stretch its legs a little bit further down. It should really technically, of course it can double bottom, but usually a fifth wave does actually get slightly lower from the, from the lows of the third wave. So I'm going to wait a little bit more for this area, which is the strongest level of support to get that relief rally. And the main reason here, one coin that I want to talk about, guys, is Astera. Astera has been absolutely flying and it's got an insane pullback right now. And Astera, I would say that Astera has an acceptable long trade here at this area. Just because the highs, we got poor highs here, 50%. I think this zone is actually good for a long position, guys, on Astera. I was looking at Astera here before the live stream, and we're going to do a little bit of Elliott Wave theory. The fact that Astera, you might think Astera's done, that's it, the hype is finished, time to roll over, which would, it would definitely make sense, of course, because we've had this is already extremely extended right throughout the last week. But what is disturbing about Astera is the highs that we have created. This is not a common high to create to get a big rollover. And I've been doing a little bit of Elliott Wave theory here on the movements here to the upside that we can, talk about. If it has to bounce, in my opinion, it has to bounce, literally in this region where I have the box 382 to the 50%, golden pocket preferably not hit, and look for it to climb up. We need some kind of a reversal eventually, first leg to the upside, to be confident, right? Break this downtrend at least to be confident that Astera can actually get that rally back to the highs. But let's continue here with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin does look like it wants to get that rollover down here, guys. Let me know in the comment section who's in a short from higher. A lot of people feeling quite bearish. The bears are definitely in control, guys. They are in control throughout the last few days. They were in control last week. They were in control throughout the beginning of September. Lots of people very, very bullish. We were very skeptical about continuing here to the upside and breaking up successfully that point of control and naked point of control. Very, very skeptical. Multiple 1-2s here, low probability. Your third wave is the largest. You're looking for that fifth wave top or that 𝗬𝗚𝗽𝗍. There was so many different options that a successful breakup from here is unlikely, and what is more likely is that we are going to reverse from this point with the potential. This is when we were trading at 116k plus, guys, with the potential of actually coming down below 107k from this point. So whoever's in shorts from higher, congratulations, good job. And I would definitely hold some of that short to give this possibility of coming below 107k, guys. Let me know in the comment section if you do see that possibility throughout the next, give or take 1 to 2 weeks. I mean, bears are definitely in control right now, but as explained, there is low probability to come straight down to 107k from this point. Some kind of a relief bounce that even might look bullish has higher probability from breaking down of this zone, guys. There is a high chance for a reversal bounce, tapping below 110k or not. There is a high chance that we do get some kind of a relief bounce here. As I explained, multiple 1-2 here is low probability. Your third wave is the longest with the biggest amount of volume, and that is most commonly well known for a wave 3. So the fact that we would break down here successfully with a big move of $4,000 or $5,000, right? You're already crossing 107K. Would be very, very rare. Of course, you want to manage risk. You don't want to go all in. You don't want to go, you know, too crazy for the reversal. You know, people are just going to be bullish. And there's going to be a lot of people saying, I'm just adding to my long. We're still in bull market. We still think that, well, not think, based on the technicals, it is still highly likely that we do get to all-time high again before the end of the year. Believe it or not. Okay. People were very confident about that. Now they're not that confident about saying, I don't know, man. Maybe the top is in. Let me know in the comment section. Do you reckon the top is in or not? We're still, you know, we were aware, guys, even though we were screaming of new all-time high for the next, you know, if in the next coming months, we were screaming about the possibility, guys. For the moment, this scenario is very real, guys. I'm not sure if I'm in the middle here, guys. I'm actually wearing the same cap from the other day. So, you know, we're not surprised based on this, right? And this movement down. Let's just explain the lower time frame. Let's see how many people we do have on the stream today. Over 500 people watching. Absolutely insane. Smash up the like button, guys. If we get to 500 likes, I'm going to give $500 to a lucky winner. Okay. Today live, if we can get to 500 likes because there's over 500 people watching. So if you all of us smash up the like button right now as we speak, I'm gonna give $500 US dollar tether, whatever network you want, guys, to anybody in the comment section. Okay, so let's get those like button rolling, okay, right away. And we probably can do a giveaway. Guys, today on the live stream. It is possible. So going back to this scenario, Astera right now, yeah, this is the zone where we could bounce, guys. I kind of feel like I want to do Astera because it's looking very interesting. That there is some very good technical reasons that, you know, Astera could hold this downtrend. It's looking a bit heavy. It's a bit overhyped, right? And when there's overhyped DEX, you know, a new niche, which is currently the DEX tokens at the moment, Astera, right? CZ behind it also, right? There's a lot of hype behind it. But I think there's going to be a lot of people interested in shorts and shorting this as well, right? People want to say this is going to dump, this is going to roll over. But this is the bouncing zone for Astera, right? Anybody that is, this is the coin that, one of the coins that has volatility, right? These are getting good movements. And yeah, I'm not sure if we should cover this right now. Anyway, I did say before when we were tapping the 50% that, you know, this could actually get the bounce. I wouldn't go too crazy. I would not want to see the golden pocket being hit. That would be not nice. That would be not good. I want to explain why this could actually get a bounce from here, okay? We can probably cover that right away. You might think, but we've lost the highs, right? It's not looking good. Double top. This might have a daily close beneath the level. It all has to do with this rally. It all has to do with this correction. And because it does look corrective, which gives the potential for Astera to actually bottom out in this region between 382 50%. So currently getting a quick little bouncy action here on Astera on the lower time frames. But yeah, breaking that downtrend would be an ultimate confirmation here that we could get a nice rally. And if we do break this smaller downtrend, anyway, we'll try and cover Astera now in the next couple of minutes. I'm focused here on Bitcoin mainly. So we've tapped the low on Bitcoin. Tapped the low. It is getting a bit of a reaction, a little SFP from the lows. Trade accordingly, trade safely. This for me is the best level, without a doubt. 110.1 daily naked point of control. Anybody that wants to get into, you know, a long position, maybe with a low leverage, wait for this level to be hit. Stop loss, you know, give it a bit of room. You know, it all depends on your strategy. I'm a very patient trader. I miss a lot of trades, but when I get into the good trades, I get in pretty heavy. So this one is a little bit, the double bottom from yesterday, I liked it much more this wick to the downside to hit the point of control and sweep up the highs, it was a very successful long trade setup. This was actually the projection that was shared inside of the pro community, right? We talked about this on yesterday's live stream. You know, the main reason why there was high probability in claiming the lows again is because we moved down in a three-wave structure, and the biggest support that we did have here was at the 111k zone where we had this point of control. So it was a setup. Movement to the downside, sweep the lows. 111k zone is the reactionary area because of the point of control, and we are looking to sweep up the highs of this range, as you can see. So your trade setup is this one right over here. Even though if you did short here, you know, you still obviously managed to take those take profits at the lows. But very, very easy setup, I would have to say. Very good, very technical. This is what we wait most of the times, you know, at least myself. Sometimes, some days they are boring and we got a lot of confusion, and some days it looks very good. High probability to claim the lows, claiming the lows and getting a bounce to sweep up the lower highs is the kind of movement that I am interested in. And yeah, this was a very, very good, successful long position that we did provide on Tuesday, and it was traded on yesterday, Wednesday, here in the VIP or the pro community. So Bitcoin getting a little bit of a relief bounce. We've tested the lows right now. All of the SFP lovers, that's the moment to take action. That's the moment to take action. I did not get into this long position. Okay, need to be clear. You could just snipe at the low. These always give you such a good entry and such a good stop loss. You can be very defensive with your stop loss straight away. And the projection can be, you know, pretty intense. You know, it can be a pretty nice bounce that you do get, giving you a good risk to reward. So whoever got into that double bottom SFP, it's just a good entry. It's good to manage. Stop loss is at the low, and this could be the one that actually gets the bounce. So as the probabilities are higher for the price to get that bounce, the overall question is, where do we get the bounce, right? Where do we bounce? Well, if we are speculating in a wave 5, right? You know, a wave 5, you really don't know where it can finish. You can have some Fibonacci extensions, okay? If you get the start of your wave 1 to the end of wave 3 to the end of wave 4, the 𝗖𝗿𝗆𝗿 extension is a common target also, okay, for the 5th wave. And you get 1, 2, and 3 together on the extension, and you put it all the way up to your 4th wave. That level is exactly at the 110.1k, which is with the daily and the naked point of control from this consolidation of the 6th of September. It's a good level to get that bounce, if I'm honest with you. Of course, the 5th wave doesn't need to hit these targets, these fib targets. A 5th wave, you know, minimum target is to get below the 3rd wave. You know, it's very, very common to see some kind of a double top or a double bottom on the 5th wave and get that stronger relief rally eventually throughout the next coming days. So possibly it just wicked down beneath this low, and maybe it does recover from here. Okay, it is a possibility, right? If we do lose this low, it doesn't get a successful bounce, then the next big major level, 110.1k, okay? That you need to treat this level as the SFP zone. If you're beneath the level, you're breaking it down, you're not interested in longing, okay? Because I know a lot of people, what they like to do is put a bunch of limit longs and expect it's going to bounce at some point. Now, it is a high probability that we do get a larger bounce from here, guys. There is higher probability, but higher probability is not guaranteed, right? And this is what we really need to be very vocal about on the channel, because I know a lot of people are irresponsible traders and yeah, they would just put a bunch of limit longs in this area, right? And just, you know, hope for the best on that bounce. I mean, it's gonna work out a lot of the times. A lot of the times it will work out, but when it doesn't, you know, and it ends up breaking down out of nowhere, you know, we get that surprise. Well, eventually that's the moment that you are underwater big time, right? It's just not a responsible way of trading. You can get into a small position, 0.5%, 1% of your capital, maybe add 1% later on. But, you know, people like to go in heavy, right? Most of the traders, at least retail, the ones that follow the channel, they do get in with $1,000 or $500 or $2,000 on the accounts. And I know it because I see it, guys. And you know, a lot of people will go with 50%, right? If you have $1,000 in your account, people will risk $500 here, right? Or even the entire account with the liquidation at the lows or whatever, right? Or even closer. And they'll just get burnt, guys. It's just, this is a very, very ferocious game, right? You need to be responsible with your funds. And you need to, you know, it's a long-term thing, right? You want to make money at the end of the month. You want to make some consistent gains, right? Throughout the end of the month, throughout the next 60 days, 80 days. Short-term doesn't matter. Manage risk. You're here to make gains, right? After the month, right? Or after the next 2 months or 3 months. Not today, all in, right? This is going to be the trade that makes me, you know, doubles my account. It's going to work out sometimes, guys, but most often, you know, you will get burnt eventually, right? And I just wanted to explain right now with the current price action that there is higher probability in getting a larger relief on Bitcoin instead of breaking down successfully to claim 107K from this area of 111 and 110K. That a successful breakdown from this zone is low probability. And the main reason why is because of this movement down, guys. If you are going to get a successful breakdown, it has to be a multiple 1-2 setup. And a multiple 1-2 setup here has low probability because most commonly your second wave 1 and 2 is actually smaller than your first wave 1, and your second 1 and 2, your second wave usually overlaps your wave 1. And it is very uncommon to see your second wave 1 and 2 to be much larger than your first 1 and 2. So with that theory, you understand that there is higher probability that this structure is very likely a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the fifth wave is very likely going to bottom out here at some point before you get the larger relief. Okay. Where is it going to bottom? Well, that's the $1 million question, right? That's the $1 million question. It could have SFP'd from the recent lows. It could form a lower high here, then create another low, tap that daily level, naked point of control, maybe SFP from this higher low also. It could be the low and it gets the bounce. This could be the low and it gets the bounce. It could form a lower high, boom, boom, claim the lows again, and then gets a bounce. So the best way is actually getting into some kind of SFP trade or failed breakdown from the most important levels of confluence, which in this case, it's either the double bottom here, or it's either the daily level, treat it as an SFP level, realize that you could double bottom later on, right? And this is how you kind of need to execute those trades with responsibility and good risk management. And if you missed it, you missed it, right? You don't want to ape in on the bounce. It's the bad idea, as you are downtrending still, right? And you do have the risk eventually of going to lower levels. So if you miss the SFP or you miss that level, it's not the greatest idea to ape in on the bounce, right? Ape in on the bounce here, because you know we're still eventually downtrending. We still could create one more low, maybe another low, triple low, right? It gets choppy, it gets difficult. So the best option that you do have here, realizing that a reversal from this zone has a high probability, is catching that double bottom or getting into an SFP on your next big major level of support, which would be that daily naked point of control, which is sitting at 110.1. So we're going to discuss a few Elliott Wave scenarios here on how the price can move. I would really want to go to Astera here, explaining why a bounce here is likely, and it has a projection to actually go to new all-time highs. Yeah, if you do give me a few minutes, guys, because you know I've just been looking at this coin, doing a little bit of analysis, and I think it could get a pretty interesting bounce from here with the potential of hitting new highs. We can go through that. I'll go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community as we are getting that like button absolutely destroyed. Did anybody long Astera, guys? I mean, we were just talking about that 50% touch at the beginning of the stream. My goodness, if it does bounce here from here successfully and it starts rallying to new highs, you know, between today and tomorrow, well, I want to explain why this zone could have got the bounce. If I do have time. I mean, this is a very volatile crypto. Eventually, at the moment, it's the one that's getting all of the attention and the hype. Anyway, we are downtrending. Of course, I wouldn't. Could it break this downtrend? Yeah, it probably is going to break this downtrend. Right, this kind of wedgie structure. Man, it looks so good. It looks actually really good. Preferably you want to try and get in at the lows. These breakouts, break of trends, I don't like them at all. I don't like them, guys. It would be a channel trend breakup, sorry. But I just don't like long in here. I'm so aware of fake outs. I just don't like these trend breakout trades. But it could happen eventually throughout the next couple of hours. Yeah, let's go through the comment section. If you do give me 10 minutes, guys, I will give an explanation here on why Astera does have a good chance from this zone, from this area. Okay, it does have a good chance that it can actually get the bounce to tackle all-time high. Okay, so let's first of all go through the comment section. We talked about Bitcoin. We're going to focus more on Bitcoin eventually, guys, as we always do, just making you understand that there's a high chance for that reversal based on what I explained and what we need to pay attention once the bounce happens, okay, to really understand, is it an impulse, is it a correction, right, and what we're looking for. No doubt in my mind, this movement down does look a 5-wave structure, and we need to be aware of the different ways of how the price can move in the next coming days so we can take advantage of the next setup, right? My main setup from yesterday was the long. It's a day trade. We moved about $3,000, give or take, $2,500, depending on your entry and your exit. But it was a good projection. It was a high probability trade setup, guys. Okay. And this was mentioned in the pro community. I also gave that setup in the VIP community. Okay. About, looking for that long here at 111K zone. Okay. If you're interested in that, to enter the VIP or the pro community, send me a DM. Okay. We'll talk about how you can get into either the VIP or the pro community, guys. The first link down below in the description. Okay, for anybody that's interested in more education, you got the pro community. Anybody that is interested in mainly just the setups that I'm looking at, Once in a while, it's not every day. We don't get into 10 trades every day, guys, or 5 trades every day. Eventually not. There's a couple of trades a week potentially, right? We'll look for high probability setup. You don't build a track record by, getting into 5-10 trades a day, mainly on Bitcoin. I'm more of a swing trader on Bitcoin. Trades do last a few days, potentially even a week or two. So let's go. Yeah, go through comment section. Say hello to the beautiful community. Staffer1, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining the stream. Absolute legend right over here. Staffer1, always giving love and power. Very active in the pro community. 𝗬𝗫cie, my brother. Hello, master. I am back. Much love to you, my man. Okay, thanks for joining the stream. Let's go, legend. Salim, Techno Feet, how are you doing? Tua Critical, make 500 likes. I'm not sure how many likes we do have, guys, but if we get to 500, it's time for giveaway, baby. It's time for giveaway. $500 for you to trade, to spend, whatever you want. Okay, and it's very easy. We'll choose somebody from the comment section and I'll send you $500 US tether. Hit the like, boys, says Bossloth. How are you guys doing? Much love to everybody. Happy Thursday. Trade safe, guys. Trade safe. We got the Bitcoin dominance getting a little bit of a dip, pumpy action. Okay, NASDAQ getting a little bit of a fall. But yeah, let's talk about the Bitcoin dominance as well. Oh man, hopefully Bitcoin is going to cool off for a little bit, get some kind of a relief rally, because if Bitcoin drops and Bitcoin dominance bounce, oh my goodness, I'm not sure. I haven't checked many altcoins here, guys, but Ethereum got the dip down, and I would assume that some altcoins are actually bleeding just because Bitcoin dominance is bouncing. But Astera has its own life, right, at the moment. Astera, Avantis, the DEX, these hyped up DEX, tokens, they don't care about Bitcoin and dominance or anything at the moment, guys. They have their own cycle. They have their own life, their own hype, their own movements for the moment, okay? Eventually, these hyped DEX tokens, there will be a moment where they will reverse and get a big correction, right? They will get a big correction, regardless if it's starting already or it starts later on after creating another high, right? They will happen. So it's not the best option in my opinion, to buy up these tokens after them rallying so much. This has rallied in the last week, 2 weeks. Yeah, about a week ago, over 300%. There's going to be smart people that got in early and they've done a 2, 3, 4x. Lots of other leveraged long positions, taking profit. So not the best zone to actually buy for the long term, in my opinion, here on Astera. Let's continue through the comment section. No sound. Let me know, guys. Is there any sound? Sound should be okay. Let's pumping, says Bavin. Vasil. Oh my God. Hello, Red Taxine. Alt season again. Yeah, that bounce is not helping for the alt season, legends. Great opportunity to buy alts. Absolutely. ICP and other alts heavily buying. Yeah, ICP is at that spring point, guys. I have bought ICP. I'm actually in a long position as well on ICP. It has to be said. Cannot lie about it. In ICP also bought some spot ICP, but I think we can definitely bleed for a little bit longer, guys. You just need to be aware of this situation, because just be happy for the discounts eventually. But I think this relief rally could get us above 60 cents on the Bitcoin dominance, 60%, sorry. And yeah, when we do take a look at ICP, for example, man, ICP is at the zone. It's at the zone where it needs to get the bounce. It is at the zone. If you lose this zone, oh my goodness, it's going to be game over. I will not sell my spot bags eventually. I will just hold on for the long term, but it's probably going to take much longer to recover. So we'll just have to wait. But it's at the spring point. I do have a little bit of analysis here on ICP. The highest probability throughout the last few weeks on ICP, guys, this is not something that I'm surprised about. The highest probability when we were trading in this zone is actually to come and test the lows at $4.20. Now, eventually we do have a few days here that we can actually get below $4. You know, it can be a little bit choppy and a little bit confusing, you know, move down another 10, 20%, right? It can actually be a little bit punchy. But this is the zone where I would, you know, ultimately expect buying pressure to kick in on ICP. Now, the main reason why there was a high probability in claiming this low, guys, there was no way of counting all of this as a bullish structure. It's extremely corrective, you know, lots of overlap. The highest probability, even though I'm bullish on ICP and I bought ICP and I did buy ICP here at these lows, you know, I understand throughout the last few weeks that we are likely gonna, you know, hit these lows, and you know, it can still be a little bit shaky. It can go to 390, it can go to 380. Be aware of this situation, but eventually this is the zone where it should spring point, right? Could it take a week? Could it take 5 days? Could it be entering into October? Be aware of this scenario. But yeah, regardless, the highest probability, you know, this was a, you know, kind of a bearish flag, if you wish. There was nothing bullish about this structure, and we were very much aware of tapping, you know, claiming beneath these lows. It was a reality, and that reality is here eventually. So yeah, but it's opportunity, guys, right? As they say, we buy the red, you don't buy the green. If you buy the green, you can get hurt. So buy the dip and it keeps dipping. We'll continue buying, as they say, right out there. Not from my take, no financial advice, but yeah, I'm happy to say that I actually bought some ICP, and I'm actually long on ICP from this zone. Okay, low leverage, low capital. It's something that I can handle. Lots of people were, you know, go in very heavily, and you know, be aware that we could get a bit more of downside. Okay. MST are at spring point now. Yeah, we can check that later on. How does 𝗬𝗿 Wave look? We can take a look at some altcoins. Hello from Norway, says Kai. Much love, guys. Bears are in control, as the thumbnail says. It is true. We were aware of this situation. Still high probability that Bitcoin gets to all-time high, guys. But we have even, it's possible that we get below 100K. Even 96K, guys, you know, would be my ultimate most bearish case scenario from Bitcoin in the next coming weeks. I would say we're not going to get down there. We got lots of support. I think breaking below 107K is going to be shallow. We're going to, you know, if it does happen eventually, we're going to have to monitor this kind of price action in the next 1 to 2 weeks, you know, depending on how long it takes. But we'll be analyzing the situation. For the moment, the impulse is real. The impulse to the downside is real, guys. It's strong. The movement down is strong. It's pretty heavy. And I don't like the bullish case for the moment till I'm actually proven that we are going to get some pretty intense pumps here, guys. I'm sorry. Where are all those people that were extremely bullish last week? We got some people actually saying in the poll, on the poll here, we got over 500 votes. How are you feeling for the next coming weeks for Bitcoin? 57% of people say bullish. 43 says bearish. I mean, coming weeks, I would say next to one to 2 weeks. I think, you know, entering into October can be bearish, but ultimately we know what they say about Q4 of the 4-year cycle theory. We know what they say about October, you know, one of the most bullish months, guys, that there has been in the history of Bitcoin. So yeah, September's not the greatest month. September's usually not the greatest month. Also for stocks, guys, you know, September's not the greatest, but Q4 is usually quite good. So yeah, a little bit of more downside, a little bit of shaky action, and ultimately start recovering at some point in October, regardless if it's going to be the first, second, third week. It does make sense. It does make sense. when we talk about the 4-year cycle theory as well, that is very much what we would be expecting, because even though if the bearish case scenario plays out, the most bearish case scenario, which is still very much a valid case, guys, I think it's the one that holds the highest probability at the moment. For the moment, this is the one that holds the highest probability. Till proven otherwise, right? Till proven otherwise. I hate saying this for the people that are very, very bullish, but the technicals don't lie, guys, and the technicals are the ones that lead the market. And yeah, for the moment, that's the risk that we do have. We're coming back down to the lows here, actually, on Bitcoin. Little bounce back down, guys. So if anybody attempted the long, should be getting stopped out, break even in the responsible way. In a responsible way, okay? And wait for the possible breakdown to hit that daily level and hit these high lows. That would be the best option. So yeah, let's see here what the price is doing. It would be a bit cheeky if it does bounce from here. It would be a cheeky bounce. So it does look like we want to revisit and attempt to break the lows here. And we're probably going to see that right now, guys, on stream. On stream. Bears are in control, guys. Bears are definitely in control for the moment. Let's go through comment section. Like I said, I'm not interested in a long till we actually get down there, guys. There we go. We've got that wick down here, getting that volatility. We're moving down here now. Let's see what happens. Do we continue slightly lower? This is the best zone, without a doubt. Let's see if we do push down a few more $100. And it would be nice to get down to this region. That's the zone that I'm waiting for anyway. That's the area of interest. As explained, there is low probability to successfully break down from here, guys. There is low probability. So I know some cheeky guys. Who's this guy? Somebody's calling me on Telegram. I thought I had that blocked. Anyway, that was interesting. Yeah, there's low probability in breaking down here. So I know some people might consider, looking to long here. I mean, it is downtrending. We are moving down. It's a bit of a heavy, falling knife situation. But, this zone is very likely going to hold. This is very likely going to hold. Can it tap below 110K? Absolutely. But I wouldn't expect a successful breakdown myself. Trade safe. Manage risk. Let's go through comment section. Can we take a look at some altcoins? I mean, Bitcoin going down and the Bitcoin dominance. Oh, Ethereum at 3,950 already. Holy smokes, it is just rolling over. For Ethereum, I'm going to explain where I want to get into that swing long. I do see a little bit of more downside. When we consider the original idea that we had from a few weeks ago on Ethereum, guys, which was getting that ABC structure. Okay, this was overall the general idea that we had a few weeks ago. What we need to do now is do a little bit of a bit of micro counting here on the lower time frame. Because, yeah, it does look like, yeah, I'm going to go straight point here. on Ethereum. It does look like we could get some kind of a relief rally at this zone very soon. If we are considering, we were talking about how highly likely we could get this ABC structure, also looking at the Ethereum BTC dominance. This was explained, guys, a few weeks ago. Whoever's a legit follower knows that we talked about this scenario. Whoever shorted here, I added slightly to my short once we were getting this rejection. So my average entry here is, 4,600 zone. But we were very much aware of getting that fake out of the Valley area high and golden pocket to the 7-8 from this drop, getting the rejection and then forming this ABC movement, which is the main reason why I still maintained that short from, it has to be 4 weeks ago right now, end of August. Definitely worth it, guys. Definitely worth it. And now is where we are interested in longs. However, when we do consider the last lower high, which is this one, this is the latest move on Ethereum. Can Ethereum bottom out here and get a massive reversal? I think it's very unlikely. I think Ethereum is at some point here going to create that bounce. Okay, at some point, I would say it is going to create that bounce that might look quite bullish. We will look very carefully if it is looking bullish or not to maybe jump into the long. But ultimately, what I would be expecting on Ethereum is possibly one more low. Possibly one more low. Unless this is going to be extremely bullish. Let's just imagine that Ethereum does this. Bang, 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 right? And it forms an awesome impulse, right? Then and you start moving down like this in a very wedgy corrective structure. Then I would really consider, okay, let's get into the long here at least. And once we claim the highs, we will protect position and let's see how the breakout develops. Because if the break up does not successfully go to higher levels and it kind of double tops, right? And this ends up being a correction. I mean, obviously on a lower time frame, I would be expecting a wave 4 here in this region and one more low. And it all has to do with this movement down. If you look closely on the price action of Ethereum, you can spot this your first wave to the downside and your wave 2, right? There's just no more to it. That's your first wave down from this lower high. And this is your next lower high, eventually labeling it as the wave 2. When we do take a look at the next movement down, you can see the first leg down, correction, big leg down with high volume, correction, next movement down, which eventually you would say this is very likely going to bottom out at some point, create that fourth wave and then fifth wave down again. So a relief rally here, just as the same as Bitcoin, is kind of expected for Ethereum also, because inside of this latest move down, which we are going to label as the third wave, right, is where you have 5 waves potentially finishing, right? This is how we're looking at Ethereum right now. Let's just turn this in the blue, right? So it would make sense for a relief rally here. The highest amount of volume is in the middle, and that's what you want to see in an impulse, right? That's what you want to see. The biggest amount of volume, the biggest move in the middle of the start of a, of a downtrend, right? Of the, well, not the start, in the middle stages of that movement down. It's pretty clear. All-time high, last low right over here that we were very skeptical, contracting diagonal, 5-wave structure, very nice. This could be an A wave, guys. This could be a B wave. That actually was the case. I'm not sure. I might be in the middle here, legends. Oh my goodness. Let me just get myself a bit smaller here on the side. Yeah, this was basically what we were spotting here on Ethereum. And guys, super clear. I'm extremely interested in longs. An epic reversal is, a bubbling up here. When we move down, it's not a time to be bearish. I was actually bearish on Bitcoin in the last couple of weeks. And even Ethereum saying, I want Ethereum to get below 4K, guys. If you are a legit follower and you're moving a little bit away from the hyped up channels, you're gonna understand that this was very much a scenario that we were talking about on the channel for a couple of weeks. This is not a zone to be bearish. It's a zone to understand we can go to a little bit lower levels, create a bounce, form another low, but get ready for the reversal that could happen entering into October. So when we do analyze this structure, okay, you can clearly see, right? This was mentioned, last week and even a couple of weeks ago, the beginning stages of September. We talked about a triangle. Maybe a triangle is possible, but preferred scenario was an ABC. When we take a look at this move, first wave 1 and 2, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the biggest amount of volume in the middle here. You could arguably discuss that this is finishing the third wave. This overextended eventually to the 1.618, even the 2 to 1 easily. 2 to 1 just hit. 2 to 1 just hit. Meaning that this wave over here is twice the length as this one. Nice, strong third wave impulse. We do expect this to bottom out at some stage. No matter how many lows you create here, it's likely going to get some kind of a relief. Very likely going to get a relief rally here to form that fourth wave. I do think that a lower high here has high probability on Ethereum. A choppy bounce potentially through the weekend. Weekend is very well known for being choppy and very, bouncing rangy. Maybe throughout the weekend is where we start that range here. But, longing right now, for me, is not an option on Ethereum, realizing that we can go to a little bit lower levels, guys. The best option for someone here to really, be confident that Ethereum, we are looking for all-time highs for Ethereum. The same for Bitcoin, guys. Okay. It doesn't matter. This movement down was expected, even though all-time high has high probability on the higher time frame. We knew that this is still a scenario which would still be bullish, and it all had to do with the movement up that we had, okay, from April. A lot of people seem to be kind of surprised about all of this, and really screaming bear market, and it would actually still be shallow, guys. It would actually still be a shallow pullback if we get below 107k in the next coming weeks, give or take to the end of September, entering into October. It would still be shallow, guys. It wouldn't be too much of a pullback after this epic rally. This movement down is still corrective. Zigzag here would be the most common thing, double zigzag. And right now we have our first wave down, okay? I would consider this the first leg to the downside, and this is why it's looking very interesting that we are likely going to get that bounce at some stage here. 110.1k, 110k zone here is the best option for that relief rally, okay? Because that's where we have the biggest confluence zone. Can it double bottom here? Yes. You might get into a small position. Stop loss, give or take a bit of room below 109k. But I am expecting a relief bounce from this area. But the best zone is, without a doubt, the daily level. Daily level, naked point of control, 110k, 110.1k. This is the best area to react and get the trading, get the price action trading above that zone. That's where I would say, okay, this is the moment where the price could get that relief. So it's really about being patient. And if we were to get that relief rally from here, then I would personally say I missed the trade, or maybe get into a small position, right? 0.5% risk. is always an option, just so you don't miss the move up. But always manage risk eventually, right? So let's continue here through. We want to talk about the different scenarios eventually that could develop, right? No matter where the low is, do we get to the daily? Do we hit the daily? Do we not hit the daily? Do we cross the daily? Do we get actually slightly lower to 109.5 and then get the bounce, right? It doesn't really matter where it actually bounces. But the overall question here is, when it bounces, what options do we have, right? What options do we have on that bounce? And look no further. This, for the moment, is the first leg down, guys. And the deeper this goes, that means, the deeper the third wave can go. What we are speculating here on this scenario that was mentioned throughout last week is, a possible ABC movement down. So when this bounce does happen, we need to pay attention closely on how that bounce does develop, right? How is the bounce going to develop here? Because there is a bullish option. There's always a bullish option. Okay, there is always a bullish option. You can't just say it's only bearish or it's only bullish. The bearish case has higher probability for the moment, unfortunately. You might think, why does it have higher probability, right? If you want to ask about probabilities, why does the bearish option have higher probability? The main reason is because this movement down does look pretty damn aggressively impulsive. And as the market moves in 3 waves or in 5 waves, then this is only 1 wave. So yeah, it's not looking too great, right? When we consider that the market moves in 3 waves or in 5 waves, right, on the higher time frame, and inside of those waves you do have either 3 waves or 5 waves. So in this case, we have a 5 wave move down, which eventually on the higher time frame only is 1 wave. So we either expect this or we expect this on the most bearish case. We've only developed the first wave down. Now there is one bullish case scenario which takes us above $118,000. Okay, there is one. There is one that actually takes us above 118K. So it's either relief bounce in the next coming days, which can be corrective. Lots of overlap, doesn't look impulsive, very choppy. And it ends up rolling down eventually to claim 107K. And then there's the other one, which actually forms a pretty solid impulsive move to the upside and corrects to the downside that has the potential to hit above 118K. Why would this scenario, why is this scenario possible, guys? If you are forming an impulsive move down here. I know some of you do know that already, because it was a scenario that we talked about. Link is on a good base. We can take a look at that later on. I'm buying Ethereum below 1K, not here, says 𝗖𝗵𝗍. Absolute legend. Suzanne, my short already opened since 18th. Yes, we're still dropping my short. Suzanne is happy for the drops. Shout out to you, Suzanne. Ross. It was mainly it's a swing trade idea that we've been talking about for over 2 weeks now, even since we were creating this uptrend, right? This was the latest video a few days ago. But, we were overall talking about this scenario already when we were rallying here, right? Guys, be cautious. A lower high in this region, 100, Even 115k zone, 116k zone, 118 might be hit. That's where we have the point of control of the range, right? Is very much a possibility. And I can see some people are, you know, actually heavily short. Suzanne maybe being one. So shout out to you, Suzanne, in the short, and happy for the price to go lower with that short. Slap the like button gently, Legend says Staffer1. If we get to 500 likes, guys, I'm not going to say it again. We are going to do a giveaway, okay? Make sure to let me know if we do get to 500 likes in the comment section, and we'll do that $500 giveaway right away. Very important. Muy importante. Good TA, thanks. You're very welcome, Basil. So, yeah, anyway, let's go through why is there potential. And we do actually still have some liquidity, which is sitting above Legends. I mean, what? No data? What's going on here? What do you mean no data? Let's take a look here. Of course we have liquidity at 118k. Of course we do have liquidity, you know, even below us right now. I mean, we probably just swept that liquidity. Let me just refresh this. You know, we did get a bit of liquidity, right? We did have a bit more of liquidity here below 111k. We swept quite a bit of it. Still got a bit to 110.2. Yeah, I mean, this is, yeah, we're building up the liquidity to the upside now here, as you can see, guys. So not only looking at the liquidity heat map, but also looking at the technicals, a reversal bounce is very, very likely here, guys. Okay, just make sure to understand that no matter how bearish or bullish you are, there's high probability that, you know, we're not going to give an exact level, that a reversal bounce here is very likely to happen for Bitcoin. Regardless, hitting 110 or dipping below 110k, maybe 109, you know, that would be pretty aggressive, a bit shaky. But manage risk accordingly, okay? Manage risk. Nothing is guaranteed, obviously, in trading. And let's talk about the most bullish case scenario, which is actually getting above 118k, but it would not be bullish enough for the price to pop out to hit all-time high. It would actually suggest a big major rejection in this zone. There is that bullish case. Of course, we can not only be bearish, guys, we can not only be bullish, we need to consider these scenarios, and eventually the information will be given once we do get that pump, right? Once that reversal does happen, if the price moves up, you know, pretty intensely, right? Really like stretching its legs. Maybe it could be tomorrow, guys. Maybe Friday ends up being bullish, even though Fridays haven't been that bullish lately. And it forms a pretty nasty leg up. Throughout the weekend, we do create, you know, a little bit of a rangy structure. And then we get their leg to the upside, right? It's a possibility, right? Let's give or take that we get a 5-wave impulsive move up. That's going to be looking interesting, and we start correcting down very choppy, right? Lots of overlap, very corrective price action, right? With the potential of really rallying here to hit the highs. The main reason we do have that bullish case scenario that is possible, and you know, you're either long from this zone or you're long from the corrective structure after the impulse, to give that possibility here. It would be an extended correction. An extended correction, considering that we do have, okay, this scenario, but instead of moving down sharply, you move in an impulse and you start ranging here. If you move up like this and you start ranging, oh, I mean, we will detect this, guys. We will detect this in the pro community, or in the, you know, I would obviously share if I do get into any setups here on Bitcoin in the VIP, in the Telegram, guys. If you are interested in that, make sure to, you know, hook me up, send me a DM. You got my DM down below. To enter the VIP, you just need to sign up to one of the exchanges, which you get massive bonuses, guys. Weeks has a 20% deposit bonus. Bluffin also get great bonus as well and great perks as you do deposit and trade there. You know, you can win many different perks here on Bluffin. And if you do a minimum deposit, you'll get access to the VIP where I share my, my trading setups basically. Send me a DM if you're interested in that, guys. It's the first link down below. The latest trade was this one from 2 days ago, okay? This was the one that I shared. It was very successful, nice move up of almost $3,000, getting the bounce yesterday to claim the highs above 113.5k, right, of this range. I just share information there. Pro community is more for education, okay, and setups eventually, but there's definitely more content in the pro community. Anyway, let's go through this scenario. The possibility of this being an X wave and then forming that Y wave, which eventually would be a larger, WXY, and it has low potential later on if we do get above 119k, that we do get to 107k, guys, and then we form a sideways correction WXY. This might sound a little bit Chinese, guys, for a lot of people that doesn't have much knowledge on Elliott Wave theory, but it's a reality. It's, price moves like this, we like it or not, right? And it just gives you the option. 3-wave up and a flat ride over here. This is why the price still has, there is a chance of actually doing this, because a lot of people that don't have this ready on their analysis, they'll be really blinded about just the bearish case, which has the highest probability for the moment, guys. I mean, this ABC expanding flat did get to the 2.618 extension. It's a very extensive C wave of a flat, but it doesn't matter. C waves can go to the 1.618, 2.618, right? Extension on a flat. It's okay for it to do that. In the case of a C wave of a flat, this would be the only reason why, because a lot of people might, that has basic knowledge on Elliott Wave theory, this is an impulse, that's it. We've broken the uptrend, that's it, guys. We are going down. And, some people would be extremely blinded just believing that it's bearish. Bears only. And I do favor the bearish case eventually, just as I was doing so in the last, give or take 1 to 2 weeks. We talked about this scenario so many times, saying, it just doesn't look good. Coming up, V-shaped recovery here, a lower high is likely. Could we tap above 119k? Point of control, it's unlikely to get follow through here. And we are looking for a pullback down. So we got that pullback down. Nice 5-waver. It's looking good. It's really looking good for this to happen. This Picasso drawing that we have here from, last week or a few days ago. We got a strong move down. It's pretty impulsive. We might be, the bounce might be very, very poor. It might be a poor bounce. And that's what we need to detect in the next few days. High probability in getting that bounce in this region. There's higher probability, guys. Doesn't mean it has to happen. Not breaking down successfully from 110k is what is likely. And in this bounce, we need to detect, is it looking strong? It doesn't really matter, because if we do get a pretty strong impulse on the 15-minute time frame and then we get this choppy correction, we could probably get into a long here, regardless if it's going to form an ABC and then it rolls down, or it's actually going to move up here. We want to be in the long from lower, right, of the correction. Give or take 50% golden pocket. It doesn't matter if it does not get to 118k or it rolls in a lower high. We'll be protective. We'll be defensive. We do not know which one's going to happen. So, but we do know our entries, our best entry zones, where to be positioned and where to protect our capital eventually. So a lot of people would only see the bearish case. We've broken the uptrend momentum of September. We've formed a pretty clear impulsive move down. People are going to be like, yeah, I mean, it's bread and butter, right? It's just don't look any more further. We are likely going to bounce, and this bounce is very likely going to be that ABC corrective structure, and then we're going to nuke down to claim below 107k. This actually has the highest probability based on the information that we have, right? Even this was the highest probability scenario 2 weeks ago, right? Even last week, you know, this was the highest probability scenario to happen, and it still is. But we need a bullish case always, right? Even though it has lower probability, just to understand it could happen. And the moment you want to realize that the bullish case has a chance, which is this larger WXY to form this X wave, is when the first leg up is looking very impulsive, right? So regardless if it's going to be here or down here, if the movement up, very, very strong move up, correction, lots of choppiness and overlap, we can realize that this is actually a bullish corrective structure. That's where I'm interested in getting into a long position to take out the highs locally anyway, right? This would be a day trade. Just be looking for the highs to be taken, leave some open for the potential of breakout here, for that larger 3-wave structure up, which, you know, definitely is possible, right? But I would be taking profits already. I would only, you know, would already be, you know, protecting position if it does create that ABC. And if we do get that big rejection with a strong impulsive down with, you know, overlapping, you know, the highs and possibly the lows, the bounce is where I'll be interested to get into the short, because, you know, we would be looking for a 5-wave move down to then, you know, form that ABC. And finally that larger WXY, right? Double zigzag. So anyway, it's kind of, you're really looking to map the story here, where to jump in, where to jump out, where to be defensive, right? And I just needed to point out that the chance of getting above 118k on this bounce, you know, it is there. It is there. I do prefer the bearish case, the original idea that we move down in an impulse and we chop here. But we need to understand that locally the bulls have a little chance. There is a chance, and that needs to prove itself on the bounce. It really needs to prove itself, and the correction can be interesting to join a long position if it were to be the case for the possible bullish case projection, right? Which is a zigzag up, flat in your wave X, and then another zigzag to the upside. So if it's very impulsive and this is very corrective, you know, we could possibly join that idea that we might get above 118k, and that would be a extremely good thing to decrease the probabilities that we're coming down to 107. And what we are looking for is a larger sideways WXY, right, which could end up here later on in a triangle entering into October, or a flat, get a bit of volatility, and then boom, right? We ain't gonna speculate on that, as it looks silly, right? For people that don't have no knowledge, you know, they're gonna say this guy with his drawings on the chart, you know, is an artist, which is just how the price can move, guys, right? So yeah, just something that I wanted to point out. For the moment, we are leaning on the higher, you know, high probability in getting the bounce, as explained, and we are leaning on still. I do prefer the scenario where we bounce and come down, guys. I do actually prefer this scenario, and I think it has higher probability because this ABC flat, the C wave is a bit extended. It is a bit too extended. So I really want to I really want to count the movement to the upside as a WXYXZ, and that we have our first leg down in an impulse, and you know, we're just forming an ABC basically, and we should be in the formation of a B wave on the bounce here for the next few days. So yeah, we're gonna see, guys. We're gonna see. we're going to see how we develop this. Most important levels that we do have on the chart is that daily level at 110. We are actually getting a nice bounce here. Maybe some people are already long. Daily level at 110k. We also have a naked point of control at 110.1k, which is basically from the 6th of September. We've got a nice high volume node from the consolidation. What else do we have? We are getting that bounce, high probability in bouncing eventually, guys, as explained at the beginning of the stream. And most important level to the upside, guys, it's a no-brainer. It's the point of control of the range here, which is sitting at 115.8k. That is the most important level, which yeah, it's muy importante. Es muy importante. Anybody who wants to speculate on the bearish case, if we were to, you know, get a decent bounce here, boom, 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 and then bang. If you are speculating that this is going to be a C wave, you need to look for the 1-to-1 extension, 1236 extension. You're hitting the point of control. There's also a daily level, I think, somewhere up there. You know, golden pocket region, 7-8 potential, 7-8 potential also. Could be an aggressive. So yeah, anyway, high probability in getting that bounce. Price looks like it wants to, guys. It wants to get the bounce. Anyway, let's go through the comment section, just explaining a little bit of a higher time frame. Eventually in the VIP, I do let the people know, you know, what levels, what trading actions I am looking for here. But on YouTube, we just give the possible projections. High probability on the higher time frame that before the end of the year, based on timing, we should be hitting all-time high, guys. Next, this does look corrective. Has been explained many times. There's no good solid way in counting this as an impulsive move or a diagonal. There's just no way. And eventually it is a 3-wave corrective structure. So what we are looking at here is either the double zigzag, most aggressive scenario, the larger WXY that could give us a sideways momentum. That's taking into consideration that your X wave is not in yet. Based on the previous scenario that I explained, you got a zigzag up, a flat, and another zigzag to the upside. That will catch a lot of people, and you know, a lot of people would get surprised. And funny enough, there is also another bullish case scenario, which is taking into consideration, instead of this being a XYXZ or 3-wave W flat X zigzag up Y. Can this be a 5-wave move up? Absolutely. You do have a 5-waver here. You do have a pretty heavy impulsive move down for the moment. So could you form a lower high here and then get another low? Your 7-8 Fibonacci is literally the last support zone. But as we do consider the bearish case, I would not be interested in snipering any position here. I mean, there's an SFP just at the 7-8. We've got a higher low for a swing failure pattern. But considering that the most bearish case is very much available still, I would really not want to personally get into the this wave here. Just realizing that we could break down, right, and form a big ABC, right, get below 107k. I would not be interested in longing the 7-8 here personally. Just being aware of the bearish overall higher time frame scenario, I would not be happy, guys, to actually long this. I would not be interested to long the 7-8. And what I do see as the opportunity zone, if this were to be a 5-wave move structure, guys, I mean, it really is boring and it takes time. You need to see how the waves do get developed. But what we would want to see, if that were to be the case, is a big reaction, SFP of the 7/8 Fibonacci with this higher low would be the most aggressive entry. But I would prefer to see that squeeze up here and that corrective structure. That's what I would want to see to long aggressively here, because I would know that what is likely is 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, right? You know, this would be the one that actually I need the first initial bounce to understand that the movement down here is a failed breakdown. Getting into this falling knife at the 7/8 is going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous. Understanding the bearish case, you know, how the bearish case is still very much very real. So I'm just talking about where the safest and highest probability scenarios will lie, guys. It's getting the reaction bounce in an impulse, realizing that the third wave has potentially failed, and that rally needs to be pretty strong, and the correction needs to be very corrective. That's where you are jumping into the long with high probability that you're going to see this next. So yeah, that bounce is happening. You know, yeah, we are getting a bit of a bounce here, guys. Very choppy, very wicky. You know, stopping out all of those, you know, longs or that, you know, that we're trying to get in here with high leverage. But as explained at the beginning of the stream, we are looking for a bounce here, guys, at a higher time degree bounce, okay? Just because, you know, we are looking for some rally here, some kind of a nice rally bounce. Realizing that this is a 5-waver, and the 5th wave is basically what has been getting developed throughout the last 24 hours. And a multiple 1-2 has a low probability, as explained at the beginning of the stream. You know, to get a successful breakdown from here, guys, it's just, I think most of you understand that, right? There's low probability. 1 2 3 4 5. For this to be a 1 2 1 2, the biggest amount of volume and biggest wave here in the middle. Not common to see your second wave 1 and 2 extremely long and with high volume, which eventually points out you're likely forming a 5th wave here. And, you know, at some point it might be choppy. Look at the point of controls, look for the reactions, double bottom, triple bottom, daily level at 110.1. You know, you are looking for that relief to happen here, understanding that a breakdown here is unlikely, right? We kind of draw the picture, guys, looking at the probabilities. I hope that, you know, this does actually, you know, give you that information, right? Wow, my short is from 117.5. Shout out to you, Suzanne, in that short from 117.5. He's an artist, says Baby G. Thank you very much. I am. You know, lots of drawing, guys. Lots of drawing, but just to try and map the situation here on how the price can move, right? If we do take a look at this is literally how the price has moved, right? So this was a few days ago. We're doing the Picasso drawing. Get the aggressive drop. Boom, boom. Lower high. Tap here. The 110K zone. And maybe now get this bounce, right? So the drawings do have their reason, guys. They do have their reason. And yeah. Anyway, let's I could explain a little bit better also. That's probably it, guys. That's probably it. That's maybe why the views are down, because, you know, my explanations are crap. Let me know, guys. I probably need to improve in that. I really do. Why shouldn't Astera hit the golden pocket, Andy? Oh, let's take a look at Astera. There it is. It's bouncing, guys. It's bouncing. It's breaking the downtrend. Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. We were going to talk about Astera. I said at the beginning of the stream why there is a good chance that Astera bounces in between the 382 and the 50% Fibonacci. Why is this an important bouncing zone, and why this is your invalidation, and why your target is take profit, right? Because you would say that this is broken down uptrend, right? This has broken the trend. It's not looking good, right? The uptrend has been broken today, and it's not looking sexy. Which, yeah, obviously, you know, we're moving down since we broke the trend. However, when I do take a look, I've been taking a look at a few exchanges here on Astera, guys. Hopefully this is going to be the successful breakout. I always prefer to try and catch the lows in this case, guys. You know, I really do try and get in that lower, because a trend breakout, I would expect it to break out successfully, to be honest. I would expect it to break out successfully and at least sweep up the highs. You know, it's very, very common, right? After such a solid downtrend, to at least get to the highs here. I mean, that's where I would expect the first reaction on Astera. You got the lows, right? The lower highs of today, of this downtrend. It's like the first target zone. I mean, this is insane, because I'm used to, you know, 3-4% moves on Bitcoin. This is already a 13% move. And so the highs is like 25%. Damn, I mean, you can make insane gains with this. But, you know, in just 1 to 2 days, if it does play out, based on the percentage moves. I mean, whoever longed Astera a few days ago has made absolutely, you know, absolute bank if you just follow the trend. But yeah, why does Astera have the potential of not hitting the golden pocket and actually getting to the highs? It all has to do with Elliott Wave theory, probabilities. Let's explain that, guys. Astera, I mean, Astera's been so sexy. It's massive volatility, huge uptrend. I have it here, guys. I have it drawn here. Elliott Wave theory. I think there's one more push up here on Astera to claim all-time highs in a fifth wave. And it all has to do with the start of the rally from the correction that we had here from Sunday, part of Monday. So the highs and the lows right there. I've checked most exchanges and all of them have a higher low right there. So this has to be your first leg to the upside and your wave 2 right there. It has to. Because there's not another type of correction that I can fit in here on Astera without claiming this low, unfortunately. And when we do take a look at the lower time frame waves here, where the third wave starts is in this push right there. It's the push that has the highest amount of volume, where it does actually break out without overlapping. Okay. And this is the moment you need to start considering the third wave is in this region. So, you know, it does make sense when we consider the higher time frame first wave 1 and 2, then you have the lower time frame 1 and 2, and then another 1 and 2 right over here. There's no third wave here as of, you know, just yet. So when you get a big solid move with high volume, that's the moment that's leaving the station. It's leaving, you know, the overlap zone. That's where we have the possible third wave, right? And when we do consider the movements here to the upside as the multiple 1-2s, we've got 1 2 1 2 1 2. Now eventually you have a 3, a 4, and another high right there, 4 and 5. All of this, you know, can be labeled as your third wave from this leg to the upside. 1 2 3 4, and this is your fifth wave right over here, because you do have 5 waves in this region, and that's all of this is literally your potential third wave. All of this is potentially your third wave right there. So, and that has to do with the micro counts, and it all has to do with, this is the only moment you can count a third wave here. You can't count a third wave here or here, right? This is the zone that actually leaves the station and does not have any overlap. So then you need to start thinking about 4 and 5s, because you have a few 1-2s here. 1 2 1 2 1 2. You have 3 1-2s. So you need to start thinking about 4 and 5, take out the high. 4 and the next 5 that you do have 1 2 3 4 5. And you know, and you're still missing another 4 and another 5. And eventually your last fourth wave, which is from your higher time frame, where, you know, basically 1 and 2, 4 and 5, you cannot hit the golden pocket if this is the correct count. If this is the correct count on this being an impulse on Astera, your wave 2, and this is your top of your wave 3, this wave 4 needs to bounce in between the 382 and the 50% zone. And this is your invalidation, right? You know, this is your stop loss. It doesn't matter if it's a right count or not, but it has the potential of actually going all the way to the highs. And it all has to do with the micro counts here. You got a higher low right there, so that's your 1 and 2. You got 1 2 1 2 here, so you need a 3 4 5. Okay, 4 5 4 5 here, as you can see. My bad. 3 4 5 4 and 5, and now, you know, you're looking for that higher time frame fourth wave, which, you know, technically would have to be this one right over here. This is why at the beginning of the stream, you know, I was basically saying Astera kind of needs to bounce in between 50% and 382, which is $1.85 to $2 zone. And this is the explanation, basically. It's a pure Elliott Wave explanation right there. And you might think, that's a, you know, load of BS. It's double topping, right? We actually lost the highs. It's a failed auction from these highs, right? We got beneath the highs. It's not looking good. I mean, yeah, I mean, it could. I mean, if you do close that daily candle beneath the level, it doesn't really matter. The daily candle looks pretty strong from yesterday. So yeah, it's not something that I would consider anyway. But it definitely has that. It does have the potential, okay, to go to new highs. And what's been interesting about this movement down, which makes it even better, is when we do go to the highs from yesterday, basically, I've been checking other exchanges. It is extremely rare to create a high like this and form these lower highs so close. You are literally a few cents of hitting the high on the previous lower highs. And, you know, nothing is certain eventually. We do the analysis here based on the probabilities, but it is rare for these to be wave 2s getting so close to these highs, guys. Okay, it is actually pretty rare. So when we do consider that wave 2s are low probability to hit the 0.88 Fibonacci or get so close to the highs, what we formed, you know, what we very likely formed here is your first leg down, okay, in a zigzag, because it is a zigzag. You do claim that low right there. And then very likely here, an A, B, C, D, E, a triangle structure. Triangles are not available for wave 2s. You cannot have a triangle in a wave 2. The most bearish case would be 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 4 5. You get the bounce and then you roll over. Okay, it is still possible eventually, but coming to the 0.88, almost taking out the previous highs, is very rare, very, very rare for multiple 1-2s, which eventually points me out on the A, B wave in a triangle and a C wave down. and eventually the C wave down, you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? And eventually form a larger ABC. I'm literally looking at this as a three-wave structure, ABC, to look for the rally here, to hit the highs again. Okay, so I mean that was just the explanation. It's all probabilities. Maybe yes, maybe no. You know, stay defensive. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining the live stream. People don't want to talk, you know, they don't want to hear that nonsense, okay, on altcoins especially. Great analysis, Andy, and explanation. I'm not a fan on Elliott Wave theory too much on altcoins, guys. Altcoins are so they can be so unreliable, guys. It's insane. It's insane. Altcoins, we know they just have a different life. Elliott Wave theory for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for these high cap coins, eventually, you know, it can work very well. For gold, Elliott Wave theory works incredibly well for gold, guys. We've talked about gold hitting all-time highs, you know, in August, but really exploding out like a month ago before it actually happened. And that had to do with a large, you know, either an A, B, C, D, E in a triangle here, or a WXY. We had from this high right there, we had a zigzag down and then a double zigzag up here. And then you have A, B, C, D, E, guys. There's 5 waves in a triangle. That could have been your Y wave. And we talked about this, you know, I think it was the first week of August, saying, guys, we're likely going to form a higher low here and we're going to absolutely moon. And this is what happened into September, guys. It's just Elliott Wave does work very, very well with, you might just think it's a symmetrical triangle, right? And that's it. It just got the breakout. Yeah, I mean, if you want, you can say that. But if you are looking for a symmetrical triangle and the breakout, you know, if you're using Elliott Wave theory, you do realize that this is very likely a fake out. This is not the time yet to get the breakout, which eventually a lot of people that do not use Elliott Wave theory would not understand, right? And they might long the breakout, and eventually they kind of get trapped and they can get emotional on that. Anyway, let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community. And Andy, eres el mejor amigo. 𝗬cie𝗵𝗽, much love to you. Gracias. Thanks on Astera TA, Andy. I've been on the long since 140. Wow, what an absolute legend. Longing Astera from very, very low levels. I mean, Astera does look pretty damn bullish. Anyway, relief rally for Bitcoin, relief rally for Ethereum is expected, guys. A successful breakdown is not expected. Hopefully, 𝗖𝗿𝘆𝗽𝗍 is shorting all of the noobs on Astera. Maybe. Much love to everybody. Trade safe, okay? Thank you very much for joining today's live stream. Suzanne, everybody that's in shorts from higher, I would maintain some of that shorts as a swing trade, guys. It does look okay for this scenario. If you want to join the pro community, you know what to do. You got the DMs down below for the Telegram, and to join the VIP, you just need to sign up to one of these awesome exchanges, legends. Weeks, Bluffin are from my favorite exchanges out there at the moment that just requires an email and a password. Thank you very much for joining today, guys. Hopefully you got some good education on today's stream. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one.